Hey church, good to see you guys. Well, hey, Ryan always did these kind of update videos to update you guys on what's going on in the church. Specifically, we're just going to go over real quick what's going to be going on for our summer plans as we're about midway through the summer, which is crazy to think. A lot of things have happened already, which have been awesome. We've had an outside gathering at Teddy Simon's house where we ended up having kind of like this brunch or potluck going on, and that was absolutely amazing. One of my highlights was hearing everybody's laughter. And as Kit and Garth Tasella started walking down a little bit late, they ended up hearing everybody laugh, and that just brightened up their day, and they started smiling, and then I started smiling, and because every single one of you guys were fired up, I was fired up, and Jonathan was fired up preaching. So it's been really awesome to see what God's been doing in our church this summer. And a couple things that have been going on. I just got off of a 3-day raft trip. As you can see, my all-star rafting gear, I ended up picking some of that up. The high schoolers and I ended up going out on the Deschutes River for 3 days, and it was amazing to see what God did. As high schoolers got to have fun, maybe cause a little bit of trouble and learn a little bit. It was awesome to be able to see these young people grow in their relationship with God. And one of my highlights on that was a young guy coming up to me and asking, "Where can I start by reading my Bible? What book should I start in? Hey, can I go ahead and meet with you more to be discipled and to read my Bible with you?" And that's absolutely amazing to hear that from a young person. And along with that, we got our Young Life camps with Shannon and Nate. They're out there at Washington Family Ranch right now with the middle schoolers, and they got back from the high school camp not too long ago. And you guys are probably going to be hearing more praise reports about what's going on with that as kids are coming back and even asking their parents or other people or Shannon and Nate, how can I start my relationship with God? So it's been absolutely incredible hearing that. Breck also ended up coming back from a Collide trip, and they went over to a park over in Idaho, and they had, I believe it was about 6 kids coming up, and they were asking the question, how can I give my life to Jesus? So it's been absolutely incredible to see what God's been doing amongst our young people. And along with that, I just wanted to commend you guys who aren't our young people, who are more wise, I guess I should say, who have been giving. And we have been so faithful in our giving as our church. And this is reflected through a story that I heard about a young guy who's maybe a little bit younger than me, who just graduated high school, who spent over a week working his butt off in the heat. And with that week's worth of money, he ended up taking that and giving it all to our women's and children's fund and ministry because he cares that much about giving to God's people and taking care of those who are on the outside of society in some capacity. So it's because of you guys that we're actually setting a culture for our young people to walk in, and it's actually growing them and growing our community here. And along with that note, I actually have an update from Pastor Ryan as they've been in Hawaii. Let's take a look here. So here's an update from Ryan. He says, we're doing awesome. Love our church. We found it in Oahu. They're connecting with believers in great ways. And he says this, though we love Oahu, we definitely miss home in our community. And they've been praying for us and praying for our future plans here in the fall, which my friend and our elder, Jonathan Martin, is going to talk about here.
Speaking of Ryan, it's pretty cool. My daughter lives in Hawaii. And I had mentioned, hey, you got to look up Ryan while he's there. And she'd been sort of peopled out. And the very next day after I talked to her about that, she goes, watch. She was on her honeymoon, or on their anniversary. And they're going, watch, I'm going to run into my old youth pastor today. And they get to the parking lot, and guess who's getting into the car next to them? Ryan and Michelle and family. So she's a prophet. Anyway, they're meeting tomorrow, and they're going to have dinner together. And I just think it's amazing how God pulled that one off. And Ryan's having a great time. It's so fun to know they're doing great. Hey, a quick update on, number one, a building to meet in, and when are we going to meet come fall? And just so you know, the elders, we talked about this for over an hour this morning, trying to figure this one out. And we're looking from input from everybody. Obviously, we can't tailor-make it to everybody, otherwise we'd have 100 different church services. But we want to hear from you. We were at Camp Church this last week and really listened to everybody and what works best for them. We're talking Sunday night, we're talking Saturday night, we're talking Sunday morning. We're talking what buildings do we meet in. We're looking at the school again. We're looking at staying at Well House and other facilities. But we do want to hear from you because we don't want to make any decision in a vacuum. Obviously, we're going to have to make a decision, and some people will be disappointed and some people will be super happy. But know that you matter. And so do get a hold of us and say, hey, here's what I'm thinking, and this is why I'm thinking that. And we will really take that into consideration. And talk about it as a small group. But we just know our small groups matter. They're vital to the membering and taking care of one another and growing together. So they are really priority for us. But we want to be able to continue to meet together and see God work in that way as a body. So thanks. Pray for wisdom and that we will know what to do. Appreciate you guys much.